Now available on Tata Sky channel number 526.
Welcome to Magic Bricks Now, India's first property channel. You're watching the Urban Debate. I'm Faye D'Souza. Let's take a look at what's making headlines today. Day 4 of the investigations into Raj Kandhari's suicide. The developers remain united and ask for a thorough probe. Our sources in the police force tell us that statements of family members have been recorded. Government authorities, though, allegedly have not been quizzed yet. We'll cheer for Pune. Pune's Metro Phase 1 gets the Chief Minister's nod. Magic Bricks now brings you exclusive details of what neighbourhoods will be connected by the Metro. And in a boost for Mumbai's commercial space, Mumbai's civic body proposes a hike of FSI and a reduction of premium to the additional FSI for ITES investment in the city. Will this make Mumbai's business districts more attractive? Magic Bricks now brings you details. Well, we continue our focus into Raj Kandhari's suicide case 4 days after the reputed Navi Mumbai developer and the owner of the Swaraj Group shot himself. Investigating officials are piecing the case together. My colleague Aishwarya Pariwal, who's been tracking that case from day one, has an update on the investigation.
Now, sources at Sanpara police station have told us that Raj Kandhari's family members have already been called in for questioning and their official statement has been recorded. Now, his wife and his mother are yet to be called in for questioning. They'll be called in for questioning in the next 2 to 3 days, and that is when their official statement will be recorded. Now, apart from his family members, his partner, Denzel Mascarenhas, was also called in for questioning, and his official statement has been recorded. Now, sources also tell us that when they searched Raj Kandhari's house and his office, they were not able to find out any other clue as to why he committed suicide. Currently, they say there are 2 or 3 theories that are doing round which point out to the fact why he committed suicide. One of them being that Raj Kandhari was battling sickness and this was the reason that pushed him to take his own life. Second theory that is doing round is the fact that he had taken debt and he was not able to repay that debt, and that is the reason why he committed suicide. The third theory that is doing rounds, and which is a very crucial one, is the fact that Raj Kandhari was being harassed by senior officials in NMMC and in CIDCO. Police sources have also told us that they are tying up all the loose ends in this case, and that the second leg of investigation would involve calling in senior officials from both these government authorities. They would be called in for questioning and their official statements would be recorded. They are saying investigations are going on in full swing.
Well, of course, that's a case we're keeping a very close eye on here on Magic Bricks Now, because in our continuous focus on project delays, we have to also acknowledge the fact that delays in permissions, local level corruption and red tape is one of the causes that's causing project delays across the country. We've asked for accountability from CIDCO, from the Navi Mumbai Municipal Corporation and, of course, from the state government on what is going to be done to make sure that another developer doesn't have to take their lives. Remember, this is the third developer who has killed himself in the last year in Mumbai alone. Well, our focus then on project delays remains on this channel. Our campaign against developers who have not been delivering projects on time enters its 4th week. We stand strong with home buyers, and together we've been able to mobilize the central and the state governments to take strict action against errant developers. But the campaign continues. While developers are blaming local corruption, the government, on the other hand, is shifting the blame back, saying that developers are at fault entirely. In this cat and mouse game, of course, it means little to home buyers who've invested their life savings into these homes. We ask a simple question: when will home buyers get possession of their homes? How many of those have we reached out to us are elderly citizens? Few of them are specially abled, retired jawans who've been fighting on our borders, who are now left fighting for their homes. On the Urban Debate tonight, 3,500 buyers of the DB Realty Ozone project in Dahisar in Mumbai have been waiting for 4 years for homes they booked back in 2009. They're paying EMIs on their home loans and they continue to live in rented accommodation. How much longer are they going to have to wait? What legal recourse is available for them? Joining me on the show tonight, Sahil Sethi, Senior Associate at Sai Krishna, and his associate Mohit Bansal. He's an advocate with the High Court in Mumbai. He'll join us soon. Krishna Raj Rao is an RTI activist. Also in the studio with me, Rahul Jain is a home buyer at DB Ozone. Jignesha Bansali is also a home buyer at DB Ozone. We're opening up the phone lines. If you are facing a problem, pick up the phone and call us, and we'll try and help you in any way we can. We're also reaching out to developers and DB Realty in particular to come forward and answer questions on how much longer this project is going to be delayed for. Jignesha Bansali, you booked a home in DB Realty's Ozone project. What has been your experience so far? Jignesha?
Faye, in the hope to get a home soon, we were promised within 4 years we'll be getting our home. And geographically, this entire project that we had selected felt in BMC purview. So that was the main reason why I had booked a flat, thinking that it comes in BMC in Mumbai limits, and that's how we had taken the entire thing. But now we are in year 2016, and still there's no sign for our
what
possession.
Was the promised possession date when you booked the home?
2012 verbally, but on my return agreement, it is 2014.
So tell me something. When you discovered that your written agreement says 2014, did you get an opportunity to change the agreement, to ask the developer for the change, to clarify the mistake that had been made?
Not really, because they have been just telling us that delay is due to some unforeseen reason, and that is the only thing that we've received so far. And we've just been waiting and waiting for the entire...
Is there any construction happening on the site right now?
Not at all. The
Not
entire
at all.
project seems to be almost stalled.
All right. Rahul Jain, what have you heard from the company so far? Have you gotten in touch? What are they telling you about the delay?
Yeah, so we have been in touch with Mr. Vipul Bansal, who happens to be the managing director of Nilkamal Realtors, which is a subsidiary of DB Realty. So this person started conversation with us about 1.5 years back, and he assured us that by March 2016 is when he is planning to start giving the possession. Till April 9th of 2016, he along with his entire team kept on maintaining the same tone that March 2016, come what may, we are starting with the possession of building number 1.
Is building number 1 ready?
No, not at all.
Ready. How much work is left on building number 1?
So as per the architect certificate, 89% of the amount has already been collected. But if you look at the building, then you can just make your calculation that it is about just 60 to 65% of the work that has been completed. So my question to Vipul Bansal and his team from DB is that if 89% of the work as per the architect certificate has been completed and they have taken the money, then why for the remaining 11% when they are going to...
That means the architect certificate lied. If what you're saying is basically you got a certificate from the architect saying 89% of the work is done, please release the rest of the money because this is construction linked financing?
Exactly.
Your bank so that architect certificate lied? Is that what you're saying, Rahul Jain?
I am not alleging that the architect certificate was false, but Faye, you need to understand this thing. Since this is a construction linked project, the bank will release the payment only on the basis of architect certificate.
But if the architect certificate said 89% and you're telling me only 65% of the work is done, you're saying the architect certificate lied.
That is something that is a question in our mind also, because when we look at the construction of the buildings and the work that has been done, it is not more than 65 to 70%. So that's what. So my question is very simple. If there are 89% of the work is done, and they are saying that okay, 89% they have collected, we are ready to pay 11% also when the demand is being raised on the completion of the work, because we want the possession.
Okay, so we got in touch with DB Realty, and on your screen right now you're looking at footage of that construction that should have been ready. This is what DB Realty has said to Magic Bricks now as a response to the questions we asked them. First of all, the company refused to come on camera and speak to us. The company refused to be part of this show. They say the project is progressing well. We have nearly completed the rental housing component. We're finishing some of the sale buildings. That is also started. The unfortunate delays are beyond our control of the past, and we expect to commence handover apartments in the next 3 months. We expect to deliver this entire project in the next 12 months. Now, we also asked DB Realty about compensation that they owe these customers who've been waiting for so long, and they said they have no plans whatsoever of making any sort of compensation payments to buyers because the contract that these customers have signed do not include any sort of compensation for delay. This is the response we have received from DB Realty on Magic Bricks. Now, I want to remind our viewers, they have refused to come on camera. They have refused to come into the studio and answer the questions of the home buyers. They've refused to answer any of our questions. This is what we've received so far. They've said they're working, they're putting all of their power behind finishing this project and handing it over in the next 3 months. Rahul Jain, tell me this. When you look at the construction site right now, is there evidence there of construction? Will it be ready in the next 3 months?
Looking at the past track record, I will be more than happy if they are able to hand over even one building in the next 3 months.
But you're not confident?
I am not at all confident, and this particular the reason why I am not so confident, because I have been one of the person who has been meeting Mr. Bansal on a regular basis, on a monthly, bi-weekly basis from the last 1.5 years.
All right, I want to understand from both of you. Jigesha, tell me this. When you signed that contract, and this is the contract is what the company is using at this point. When you signed a contract that doesn't allow you any sort of compensation for delay, why would you sign a contract like that? Isn't that a one-sided contract?
Faye, when we signed the contract, the first and the foremost thing is we were not even allowed to read the contract. Okay, it was surely on the trust factor that at least I can speak for myself that I'd signed the contract. They sent their company personnel who accompanied us all the way throughout till the time we signed the contract. So to be very honest with you, as in I did not read the contract.
Did not read the contract, wasn't allowed to read the contract.
Yes.
Sahil
Can I add one
Sethi?
thing?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so the way the contract was being signed, like in 2009 when I booked the flat, we were just given, a promise that 2012, then the allotment letter came, it was mentioned that it is going to be like falling in Mira Bhayandar Road. Then after say about 5 to 6 months, we were suddenly one day I get a call that, you have to come to the register office and sign the agreement. I said, okay, but first send me the draft copy, I need to go through it. He said, we don't send the draft copy. I said, okay, I will come and read over there. Within 15 minutes, we were asked to just sign all the say about 100 plus pages on the agreement. So it was practically impossible for us to read what the agreement says and to go through each and every clause. And to point out one more thing, this is a registered agreement as per MOFA Act, okay? Same building number, you just take an example of any building. Every building has like same building has different possession date. So suppose just say take an example, if suppose my is building number 14, I am having a flat in say 13th floor, I am having a possession date of 2014. Somebody who would have booked in 2009 a lower floor, say 9th floor, and would have registered it now, his agreement says 2017. I fail to understand this thing, that without constructing building, say lower building floors, how they are able to deliver the higher floors.
Okay, let's take this piece by piece. Sahil Sethi, I have a couple of questions for you. There are problems here, several problems here with this one particular case, and I want to bring to our audience's attention, while there are 2 projects being delayed by DB Ozone, DB Orchid Heights and DB Ozone. These are the 2 projects that will be delayed. In the meantime, there are projects in the rest of the city that are being completed by this developer. I'll take it one step further. DB Crown, which is being built in the center of the city, currently offers helicopter rides to anybody who wants to take a look at the view. Do you want to see the view from this neighborhood? We give you a free helicopter ride so you can see what your view is going to look like. This is a company that can afford helicopter rides. Sahil Sethi, first of all, there was a problem there with the neighborhood. Was it Mira Bhayandar? Is it Mumbai? There was a problem with where this building is actually going to fall. Secondly, there was a problem with the architect's certificate that was handed out saying this is the amount of work that was done. But the thing that really upsets me tonight is the fact that none of these buyers were allowed to read their contract. I know that the NCRDC, the National Commission for Consumer Grievances, is taking a very, very hard stand right now on developers who are not allowing buyers to read contracts. Where do the rights stand here for these home buyers?
Faye, can I just add one more?
One second. I want to hear what Sahil Sethi has to say.
This is exactly the problem. See, this entire issue this is entirely the problem. The problem actually starts from the fact that these agreements were never shown to buyers. And here, I would also like to say that not only are the builders responsible, but somewhere down the line, maybe we also as buyers have failed to do our bit of diligence. But yes, this entire scenario starts because the buyers are not allowed to view their contracts. The buyers are not told what lies within, and then booking amounts are paid. After booking amounts are paid, then the buyers are told that this is your contract, either sign it in totality or we'll take your booking amount. So basically, you don't have a negotiating power. You were just given a piece of paper. These are all standard form contracts, be it 1,000 flats or 10,000 flats, they're all the same. So you just have to sign. It's like signing on blank papers, and unfortunately buyers have done that because they don't have a choice, because it's a practice all across the real estate. So if one builder is doing it, you can oppose it. But when it's a practice all throughout, then the buyer doesn't have a choice. Either he doesn't have the choice of buying an apartment altogether, or if he has to buy an apartment, he'll have to sign on one of these one-sided agreements.
So I think when I look at these buyers right now, when I speak to these buyers right now, one second, when I speak to these buyers right now, and I'm thinking, if the choice is not to own a home, or the choice is to sign this contract and wait 6, 7, 8, 10 years without a home, these buyers should have walked away from the table. Would you advise, okay, let's learn from experiences, would you advise anybody watching at home right now to just walk away from a deal if you're not allowed to read the contract before you reach the registrar's office?
No, I would see it's easy for me to advise, but unfortunately the difficulty is that's what I said. So if one builder is following this practice, you can say, okay, I won't buy an apartment with this particular builder. But if this is the practice, you will either not have a home ever, you can either not buy an apartment ever, or you will have to actually sign into some one-sided agreement. Now, it can be, some may be worse, but it will still be one-sided. It will be heavily tilted in favor of the builder, and you will have to sign into something like that to actually be able to own an apartment on your own.
Okay, so Mohit Bansali,
actually to have an affordable housing today, unfortunately, you have to sign these unfair agreements.
So, okay.
And that is where I think the NCDRC is playing a very important role, because the NCDRC is acknowledging the fact that the buyers actually did not have a negotiating power.
All right, so that was my next question to you, Sahil Sethi. That was my next question to you. There are several buyers, and in this particular case, 3,500 buyers who are waiting for their home. Mohit Bansali joins me as well right now. He's an advocate with the High Court in Mumbai. I want to understand now, what remedy do these buyers have? On one hand, you have a developer who's saying, hey, I will finish in the next 3 months to the next 1 year. All of you will get your homes. Would you recommend that they wait and trust some more? Would you recommend that they actually approach the National Commission at this point and say, we signed an unfair contract, help us out? Sahil Sethi, what would you recommend?
I would say approach the National Commission. If your project has actually reached a stage, if you've actually tried everything, if you've talked to the builder, he's not listening to you, you've done protests, you've done meetings, I don't think there is any reason to wait for anything, be it RERA or anything. Because RERA is going to take some time, it is going to take about a year to implement. And so you don't have any other choice. If you've done your protest bit, then I think you should not waste any further time, and you should definitely move forward.
Mohit Bansali, the High Court of Mumbai, what would you recommend these buyers do? They've been waiting for 6 years for a home. The developer now says they will deliver in the next 3 months to the next 1 year. What legal advice would you give these home buyers right now?
It's all depends what contract has been signed first, and second, that what promise is promising. Whether even after 6 years, can they believe the promise now been made of 3 months? So best remedy available as on date for all the flat buyers is to approach the consumer for us, like State Commission, National Commission, based on the value of the flat. And even after, if the builder wants to give the possession, he can give during the pendency of the matter.
All right, I want to bring in more voices who've been troubled by this case. Vaijayanti is on the phone line from Mumbai. Vaijayanti, tell us what's going on. You bought a house in DBO zone. What is your experience?
Still waiting for my house, and he's just keeping us waiting. There is nothing assurance, nothing, even if you go to the site, there is no manpower, there is no resources. We don't see any assurance from them that are really serious of giving our home, and it's like has become a harassment for us, a mental agony for us, and we are just waiting.
Vaijayanti, the developer now tells us that they will deliver in the next 3 months. Are you willing to believe and wait for another 3 months or 6 months or a year?
No. Not at all.
You're not willing to be. Krishnaraj Rao, I mean, you and I actually function on the ground here in Mumbai. we understand what this buyer means when she says that there's no manpower on the ground.
Yeah.
There's no action, there's no activity on the site. And this is how, for buyers at home, this is how you tell when there is a active construction site. Cranes are moving. Trucks are going in and out. There is manpower functioning on the ground. That's how you know there's construction going on. If there's no visible construction going on, Krishnaraj Rao.
Yeah, so there is a very good likelihood that the builder is stuck for want of some permission or the other. Maybe the height that he is aiming for has not been cleared. It is very frequent that these builders try to get heights sanctioned after they, quite late into the project.
Not my fault as a home buyer, Krishnaraj Rao. Not my fault as a home buyer.
So
why should I have to wait? Yeah.
Not for a moment would I forgive this kind of an attitude by the builders. All I'm saying is there are a lot of bad standard operating practices, and this is one of them. Not being transparent with the buyer, home buyer, is a standard operating practice. And unfortunately, we as home buyers have failed collectively to hold the building industry accountable.
Let's hold them accountable right now. This is what this channel is for. Let's hold them accountable right now. We're looking at footage of that construction site. I don't see moving cranes. I don't see any activity happening on that construction site. 3,500 buyers have come together as a group. I want to acknowledge the strength of this group at this point. 3,500 people. What can they do? Krishnaraj Rao.
See, many of these people, what is very good to know is that they do have registered agreements which have dates like 2014. I think they should, yes, they have to definitely go to court. There's no two ways about it. And the deficiencies in the contract, by the way, the deficiencies in the agreement does not mean that they are disabled from seeking compensation. So even if there is no compensation clause in the contract, there is such a thing as the equity of the whole contract. The contract is supposed to be, it's a contract, it's a statement of parity between the two parties. So if it is distinctly, visibly one-sided, saying, for example, that it is going to penalize the buyer for late payments, etc. And then on the other side, it does not penalize the builder for late delivery.
Rahul Jain, is there a penalty clause there that penalizes you for a late payment in that contract?
Yes, there is a penalty clause in the agreement which state that if we default by say some number of days, whatever the case may be, so we are going to be charged 21% per annum.
21%.
Yes, and I would like to quote that when it comes to like there is an exit option also over there, but that mentions only 9%. That if you want to exit,
did you at any point of time attempt to exit this project?
We have tried to exit the project. Like I have put an advertisement for my flat on many reality site, but the rate that I am getting is way below what I am expecting, so that at least I can recover my principal amount that I have invested into this project. But that is like because of the negativity surrounding this project, I am not getting any.
You're not getting anybody to buy the project off your hands. What did you pay? What rate have you paid for this project?
Yeah, so I booked in 2009. I paid about 3,483 plus floor rise. So that comes to about 3,600. So today, when I'm after waiting for say 6 years. The loan that I have, the interest that I have paid on the loan and everything, my amount comes like I booked a flat in about 23 lakhs. And now if I just take into calculation everything, then my total outgo is say about 35 lakhs, 35 to 40 lakhs. But when I'm trying to sell this flat in the open market, then I'm getting a rate of 6,000, 6,500. And that too, like DB officials, they are levying a transfer charge of say 500 rupees. If I want to say sell this,
per square foot?
500 rupees per square feet, which I again know that this is
How much does that
unlawful.
work up to?
Sorry?
How much does that work up to?
That works out to be anywhere, if you are having a 1 BHK, that works out to be in the range of say about 3 lakhs to, and if you are 2 BHK, it works out to be about 5 to 6 lakhs.
All right.
3 to 6 lakhs.
Sahil Sethi, here are buyers who are trapped. Can't sell the apartment because there's a 3 lakh to 5 lakh rupee transfer charge that the developer is charging them.
Before we shift to Sahil Sethi, can I just add one more point?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is one thing. Secondly,
a very pertinent point has been made here. Now, a lot of builders are saying the delays are not.
Sahil, 1 second.
The builders are saying that the delays are not something that can be attributable to them. They are either at.
Yeah.
Rahul, quickly make your point.
Just one thing to mention.
So they are saying either it's attributable to permissions that are pending with authorities.
Okay. Just to add
that
one point.
Or they are delays pending to the cost of construction going up. But this is the least I think that a builder can do. A builder can at least allow a aggrieved buyer to move out of the project, to exit the project, See, because all these transfer charges are again something that are very unfairly charged from buyers, because it's nothing actually that the builder has to do when it gets transferred. It's so simple. If somebody buys it in resale, he just steps into the shoes of the original buyer, and the builder just has to update his records. And for updating records, 3 or 5 lakh rupees, I think, is completely obnoxious.
One more thing I just want to make over here is like, this is just one thing. Secondly, what is happening is, if there is a delay of say about 1 or 2 days also, or say maybe 5 to 6 days, DB is directly sending out a termination notice to the buyer who has already paid about 89%. Okay, and when the aggrieved buyer just approaches DB and asks them to reinstate the agreement, they are making him sign a new agreement which states that they have to pay 1,000 rupees additional for infrastructure and development charges, 500 each. The old agreement states 40 to 60 rupees as the infrastructure and development charges. So this is one arm twisting mechanism that they are approaching, and there are many people. If you just open the phone line,
the truth is, it all boils down to this, Rahul Jain. If you were to today get all your money back from DB Realty and attempt to buy a house in the same neighborhood at the same square foot, you wouldn't be able to, because the going rate currently in Dahisar, if I'm not mistaken, is upwards of 15,000 rupees a square foot.
Yeah, if you calculate on carpet area,
It's the only way one should calculate the price of homes on carpet area. The truth is that you'd never be able to buy a home with the same price. So it's not just all of the pain, it's the opportunity loss. It's the fact that the money has been stuck for so long. You've not made interest, you don't have a house, and you can't buy a house anywhere else. And the thing that really irks me about this is the difference of 21% penalty that a buyer has to pay for a late payment, no penalty whatsoever on the contract for for a delay from the developer.
And the termination of the contract is possible at the option of the builder, but not at the option of the buyer. They cannot terminate their contracts. He will terminate their contracts.
I want to understand from Mohit Bhansali this sort of unfair contract. We know the CCI also has taken a very strong stand about it. Does it make sense? And you said in the beginning that they should go to consumer court. Does it make sense to go to consumer court? Should they go to civil courts? Should they go
Competition Commission is one more forum which you just mentioned.
Yes. Where should they go? What's the best strategy for these buyers right now?
Right now, for this unfair trade practice, which rightly mentioned that they are charging 21% and the buyer is not getting anything. On the contrary, Act provides 9% for both, and recently NCDRC, in the case of Unitech, held the law that this is unfair on the part of builders if they are charging 21%. And if we apply the same principle, then buyer may be entitled for equal rate of interest what the builder is charging them.
True.
So the best remedy available to them as on date, and the best and the cheapest remedy is to Consumer Forum. Yes.
Okay, and I want to explain
Competition Commission has held DB Realty guilty in one similar case.
Okay.
I think it was in the year 2011 or 12. So I think Competition Commission may also be a forum which will easily rule that this is an unfair trade practice, and it shows it's taking advantage of its dominant position in the contract.
Sahil Sethi, you just won a case against JP in the NCR region for a similar problem, the fact that it was a one-sided agreement that did not offer compensation to home buyers. Can these home buyers demand compensation? Who will they have to demand it from? So on one side, there is, of course, Consumer Court, but if they combine all of and if each of them have bought homes worth 35-40 lakh rupees each, they combine homes of 3,500 buyers. The National Commission is open to them, isn't it?
It is absolutely open to them, and as you rightly pointed out, the NCDRC in a recent judgment has again clarified, and one of my friends on the panel said that it was already done in the Unitex case, and it has said that it has again clarified that the consumer is not bound by these unfair contracts, and adequate compensation ranging till 12% per annum is to be given to a buyer. And I don't see any reason I see it as a very positive thing that there are 3,500 people who are together, and I think all of them should go together and approach the NCDRC in a single complaint and tell the NCDRC that something like this is happening, and we want you to do something about it. And the NCDRC, I must tell you, is very positive about it, is very pro-consumer, is very compassionate, and will actually go out of the way and not take procedural formalities into consideration when it comes to helping consumers. So that is something that should definitely be done.
Sethi, should they be demanding interim relief from the NCDRC?
In a case like this, I doubt what interim relief can actually be sought. But the only interim relief I feel in this case can be that whatever funds are at least now flowing in, there should be a committee that can be set up which has a representative of the buyer community as well, and maybe one of the buyers should be given a signing authority, or 2 or 3 buyers should be given a signing authority, at least to ensure that no funds actually now are flowing out. Whatever has gone out, I don't know. But at least for now, whatever funds are going out and whatever payments are being collected should actually be controlled by the buyers, so that they can actually utilize it to complete the project.
You know, this is why the new real estate regulatory...
I think NCDRC will be open, if put correctly, to such kind of an interim measure.
All right, so such kind of an interim measure. And of course, remember, the new real estate regulator calls for a 70% escrow account, which means that 70% of the money collected for a particular project has to be used for that project and cannot be diverted to anything else. That's meant to solve problems like this. But remember, it's at least a year away before we actually see that come into force. Fahim is on the phone line from Mumbai. Fahim, which apartment, which complex did you buy with in DB Realty? What has your experience been?
Yeah, I have booked the flat in 2009, building number 4. And I'm a person who have taken a loan. I have a bank loan. I am living on rent. From last 6 years, I'm just waiting for my house. But there is no sign of possession or any kind of answer for us. My family is suffering. I am suffering, paying rent, EMIs and suffering, asking questions. From last 6 years, we are doing this. So there is no help from anybody. So we're just looking for help for someone like government come in, or maybe some politician come in and get us, like Venkaiah Naidu can do something for us. We are 3,500 buyers waiting for the possession.
All right, the help?
Nowhere, yeah. Yeah, we're looking for help, somebody who can just give us a possession as soon as possible.
Possession as soon as possible. So these are home buyers, I want to point out, that don't want their money back. They don't want anything else. They just want their homes. Homes that they have paid for, homes that they're paying interest on. Tushar is on the phone line as well. Tushar, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, this is Tushar here. I have booked a flat at DB Ozone 2009. It's 2016. No sign of my flat. When we booked the flat, we were told the entry will be from the Mumbai side. Now they say Mumbai side, the plans have not been approved, so this comes in Thane. They keep on changing plans. The facilities, I have the layout which was earlier shown to me, and what they are actually building, it is nowhere same to what we were shown at the time of booking. They keep on changing plans. They keep on adding floors. When we booked, there were supposed to be 15 floors.
So because the issue of loans have actually come up, there's something that I would want to point out here.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sahil.
Yes, Sahil.
So basically, see, we have to also understand that the banks are also somewhere responsible for the situation that the buyers are today facing. Now, the banks are actually supposed to conduct a due diligence before approving loans for a particular kind of a project. And when a buyer goes to a bank, takes a loan, he does that under the presumption that the bank has done its job. But unfortunately, it turns out that the bank has not done its job, because the bank, in spite of all of this mess, gets to benefit for him, because the loan doesn't stop. So I think somewhere down the line, not only the authorities but the banks who are sanctioning these loans and who are saying that we are approving
I want to ask you a quick
project have
question
also
here.
failed.
When the banks are sanctioning, and I must remind you that this project was a pre-launch project, if I'm not mistaken. Now, at a pre-launch level, there are very few permissions that are already in. Now, when the bank is sanctioning something at the pre-launch level, what due diligence is it doing? There is no permission to check. These are permissions that then come in later. Plinth level permissions come in later. All of these other permissions come in later. What sort of due diligence are we even expecting?
That is even worse.
I want to ask this of the investors. I don't hear any voices.
No, but then these loans should never have been approved at these pre-launch stages.
Actually,
that is even worse then.
That's fair. If we are naming developers here, we should also talk about the banks. Jignesha, which bank do you have a loan from?
I don't have a loan.
Okay. Rahul?
I have a loan from SBI.
SBI. And do you remember which banks had cleared this project and which banks had actually pre-approved it?
Yeah, so almost all the banks have cleared the project. So there is an ASF number that has been given, like when I applied for the loan. So ASF number was given, and I came to know that I applied for Axis Bank. It got approved, but because there was a delay from DB side to raise the first demand letter, so I had to forego on that Axis Bank charges that I paid for my loan approval. Then I applied for SBI. SBI is approved. I know people who have availed loan from HDFC, from Axis Bank, from ICICI Bank, you name it, and almost all the banks have approved it.
Almost all the banks have approved it.
But now the banks, the buyers are facing a problem that when they get a demand letter, when they send it across to the bank are sometimes refusing to disburse the amount, and the pretext that, okay, this project has been delayed beyond time, and after a lot of struggle from the buyer side, they are able to clear that.
So if the bank fails to clear it, what will the builder do to you?
They will send simply send across a termination notice to us. As I said, yeah.
So you are caught between the devil and the
exactly.
Is the bank allowed to refuse disbursement? Because this is disbursement. This money is technically the buyer's money. The buyer's paying interest on this money. This money has been sanctioned. Can the bank, at this point, after 89% of the money has been disbursed for the last, small amount of money, can they in fact refuse disbursement? Mohit Bhansali?
In fact, there is a mechanism developed, and unfortunately, majority of banks are not following it. They have to disburse the loan as per the progress of construction.
Okay.
Based on, they must have a architect certificate in their hand, and only then they should disburse, so that whatever is the development, in proportionate of that development, they have to disburse the loan. In this matter, 89% loan has been disbursed. Almost 90%, and we just have seen the site. 90% work is not yet completed.
But
so there is a problem.
Certificate says it is.
This is again a very pertinent point. It is not only about the launch stage, but it is at every stage of construction, because if buyers have purchased their apartments with construction linked plan, it is the responsibility of the bank to check whether that particular stage of construction has actually been reached before making disbursements, but that is unfortunately not happening.
On one hand,
and what is happening actually is that banks sanction loans, and thereafter they realize that the builder is not able to fulfill commitments.
Sahil, so if there is a difference of opinion between architect who says 89% is done, and the bank, and also the public, the investor who says only 60% is done, let us say, and the bank stops disbursal, what happens? And the builder says he will terminate. What happens? I mean,
no, see. So I want to just look again. Sahil Sethi, here we have buyers. Here we have buyers who, on one hand, are paying interest on the 89% that has already been disbursed. On the other hand, they run the risk of the developer saying, "Hey, I'm going to terminate your contract, and then if you want to reinstate it, I'm going to charge you more money." On the third hand, you have a bank who's saying, "I no longer believe the architect certificate, so I'm no longer going to disburse any money." This is not just the devil and the deep blue sea. There's a third player here who's wreaking havoc on these buyers, and that's the bank. I want to focus on whether or not the bank is allowed to.
You have to understand why there will be a difference of opinion.
Is the bank allowed to say no? That's my question. Sahil, is the bank allowed to say no?
The reason there is a difference.
Is the bank allowed
Yes, they are allowed to say no. Their loan agreement is going to say that, because I'm saying see, it's not about banks allowed, I'm not supporting the banks here, but what I'm trying to say is that I'm blaming the banks because they've initially failed in their duty to do something about it, and then when the situation goes out of hand and they see their own money getting blocked, then they don't want to make further disbursements. And the reason there is a difference of opinion in what the architect says, there is another point that I want to make here, and what the architect says and what the bank has to say is, in all these construction linked plans that you see, the definition of that stage of construction. So for example, if the stage of construction says finishing, the definition of finishing is something that everybody understands differently. There is no transparency at all of what the builder means when he says that I'll complete, I'll charge this amount at the stage of finishing. Now what is finishing? So that is the reason there is a difference of opinion, and there is the banks will stop disbursement. They are well within their right, but that is something where they are failing in their duty.
All right, Firwani is on the phone line from Mumbai. Firwani, go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Pirwani here.
Yes, go ahead.
We have booked our flats in 2009. 7 years later, we haven't got our flat. We are two senior citizens. We have paid away all our savings into the nearly 90% payment which the builder has asked, on the pretext that he's asking for 3% payment for every floor, right? The 20 floors have been completed, and further payments were asked for the interiors also. Now we have nothing left with us. How do we get along? We are not even getting, we have to look for rental, and we have no interest coming in from our savings.
No interest.
All the savings have been paid away.
Senior citizens who have put their entire life savings into these homes. Uma Banushali is also on the phone line. Uma, go ahead.
To sir, what I'll say is do not waste time. You should approach a consumer forum.
Yes, ma'am.
Uma Banushali, go ahead.
The forum is actually very compassionate towards senior citizens.
Hello.
Uma Banushali, go ahead.
Yeah, we have booked flat in DB Ozone in April 2009, and when verbally they told us that they will give possession in 2012. When we went at the register office, then only we came to know that they have written it that 31st December 2014. Till 2014 we are waiting for 1 year, and till today we are not getting home. Yesterday my husband visited the site. They does not have seen anything there. No, only 6 to 7 workers were working there.
My God.
So how can we get? We are a middle class people. Very rarely we are paying the amount. From here and there we are borrowed the money and we are paying the amount.
Appalling stories coming in about the DB Ozone project. I invite DB Realty one more time to come into the studio and answer these questions. Face the questions from your buyers. We have to take a quick break, but I want to remind our viewers of this. All of the industry is not in that same boat. There are several developers in the industry who've delivered and delivered on time. And we're going to acknowledge that on the screen when we go into break are names and projects that have delivered on time in the last 1 year. Now, these are not all the names. We're going to take the next couple of days to give you the names of developers who are actually managing to deliver on time. And that's the most important thing right now. In this market, names of builders and projects that are delivering on time in the last 1 year. Over the next couple of days, we're going to continue to bring you these names. This is the response we're getting from DB Realty to Magic Bricks now. They say the project is progressing well. We have nearly completed the rental housing component. Finishing some of the sale buildings has also begun. The unfortunate delays are beyond our control and they're of the past. We expect to commence handover of apartments in the next 3 months. We expect to deliver the project in the next 12 months. In response to our question about compensation, the company says no plans of compensating buyers. Contracts do not include compensation for delay. Here's what we're discovering about this particular project. Contracts were completely one-sided. Plans were changed after the contracts were signed several times. Tushar is on.
To raise
one second. I just want to get one view in. There's another buyer on the phone line. I want to hear as many home buyers as we can, and then we'll come back to what you want to say, Krishna. Tushar is on the phone line. Tushar, go ahead.
Yeah. See, DB, when we were sold the flat, we were told it will be a 14 or a 15-story building.
Right.
They increased it without our consultation to 19 floors. Subsequently, they increased it to 21 floors.
Right.
Even today, you will find 6 buildings or 7 buildings where they have not put up terrace. When we go to talk to them, they say, "Iske upar all floors aane wala hai." They have tried to, add cement steel to strengthen the buildings even before giving us possession. How long will it last? Today, I want to exit my flat. I cannot exit. Why? Because the new buyer has to pay 1,000 rupees transfer. The new buyer has 500 rupees transfer, 1,000 rupees infrastructure. But I cannot hold on to the flat. I am paying EMI for 6 years. I continue to pay for how long? And all this for whose mistake? And then they are claiming they will give it in 3 months to 12 months. I have a challenge and a strong question to the DB. How can they give in 3 months when they have not completed the rental buildings? They have not finished the buildings, they have not applied for an OC. What makes us believe, and they promise us that they will complete it in 3 months? Again, a wrong promise, trying to buy time. How long do we go this? How long can we bear this?
How long can buyers bear this? How do you expect the buyer to believe you now, Krishna Rao?
I would like to ask you something. What is this rental building that keeps popping up? Is it a euphemism for an SRA component, or is it something that he genuinely plans to rent out?
If I'm not mistaken, the MMRDA rental housing scheme, where a certain amount of the built up has to be handed over to the MMRDA as part of their rental housing, if I'm not mistaken. Rahul Jain?
Okay, is there SRA?
Yeah, exactly. So, so just to clarify, this is not an SRA project. What I understand is like the equal number of flats DB has to hand over in terms of the rental housing scheme to the Mira Bhayandar Municipal Corporation. So unless until they don't hand over those particular number of flats, they will not be able to get the OC. This is what is my understanding.
Okay. All right, Mohit Bansali. Yeah. Mohit Bansali. Here's the thing that has caused most of the problems. 14 floors that became 19 floors, that became 21 floors, that are likely to go up even further. And while developers do that, it's very likely that the actual plan of each home, the actual carpet area of each home has also changed without consulting these home buyers as it is. And they're the ones paying for this construction. Let's be very clear. They're the ones paying for the construction. This is a complete violation of their rights as buyers.
And each person gets a smaller and smaller portion of the land plot. Because when you're buying the house, you're not just buying the house.
Because the number of people who are going to share the plot, the amenities, the building changes. Mohit Bansali.
Yes, it's very important question been raised now. It's been seen in Bombay that the builders, at their whims and fancies, are changing the plans. Law says once the layout been shown to the flat buyers, they have chosen the flat to book in their project based on the amenities which they will be enjoying along with the strength of the buyers who are purchasing at that time. Now suppose if a 9-floor building was agreed and now that building is raised to 12 floor. So the amenities which was originally to be created for 9 floors now will be distributed and enjoyed by the flat owners of 12 floors. So that will again create a kiosk. And this is what the law says, it cannot be which adversely affect the flat buyers. It's a complete violation of MOFA.
So that's one more thing you need to go to consumer court
against. Is it cheating?
It's cheating.
Mohit, is it cheating?
It's a kind of unfair trade practice on their part that if a person is entitled for enjoy of a particular percentage of share of amenities, now been compelled to share that amenities amongst the double number of flats.
All right, Sahil Sethi, 3,500 builders or 3,600 builders from what I understand should get together and approach the National Commission. What should they be appealing for?
They should be appealing for, number one, I understand from this case is that the buyers are primarily concerned about the delays. That is one issue that they should be appealing for. They should ask the commission to intervene in between. Now we have to understand the commission can actually not make the builder construct the property. The commission can only impose a monetary compensation that puts a certain amount of pressure on the builder to complete the project sooner than the builder actually maybe in his plan intends to. And also from what I have been hearing, I understand that the plans are being changed. They are being changed illegally. They are being changed at the cost of amenities that the buyers were initially promised. So that is another thing that the buyers should point it out to the commission. And if at all it is possible that the clock can be reversed, then the clock should be reversed and this illegal construction should be stopped. But if the clock cannot be reversed, then I feel that the buyers should be adequately compensated. Right. And so these are primary two concerns I feel in this particular case, that these 3,500 buyers should get together.
Right, I want to bring in another angle. We have home buyers, we have the developer, we've talked about the banks. But there's a fourth person who should be made accountable, and that is the corporation. That is the government. That's the local government. You've given out permissions on a project. You're not sure if this project is Mumbai municipal limits. You're not sure if this project is Mira Bhayandar municipal limits. I personally called every corporator in the Dahisar East, Mira Bhayandar, they all palmed it off saying this is not my constituency. This is not my constituency. I am not responsible for it. This is the case. This is what we're hearing on the ground. Jignesha Bansali, you've paid stamp duty, you've paid registration, you've paid taxes to the government. Has the government come through for you?
That is the unfortunate part. When as a buyer, I have paid all the things which are required, but unfortunately, when I signed the agreement, it is only one-sided. And to real unfortunate part that we have very willingly signed, done all the formalities that we have to, and this is what in return that we get.
Mohit Bhansali, can we hold the government accountable?
Yes, certainly. They are the agencies who are clearing all the plans. They have to ascertain before sanctioning any plan about the viability of the project first. Second, if they have further amended the plan, they should ask for, as per the law, whether you have obtained the consent of the buyers.
As per MOFA?
Yes, as per Section 7 of MOFA. They should, in fact, ask the builder whether you have shown this amended plan to the buyers, which is likely to adversely affect their rights. So they are not following all those due process. In fact, there is a circular of 2012, GR is there, which says once the society is formed, the builder has to execute the conveyance. Now, the problem if builder never execute the conveyance. So does he possess any right to keep on constructing to any limit? This is the problem, that the corporation is not paying any attention.
There's a big problem that the corporation actually keeps increasing FSI and making more and more TDR available. And that incentivates the builder to actually delay the project. So if he delays beyond 2017, let us say, he can take advantage of DP 2034 and so he may get more FSI. So he will delay it. He has an incentive.
In fact, it's only in the last couple of weeks last week, in fact, that we've realized that the new DP will not increase any sort of FSI in the suburbs of Mumbai. But up till now, there was a hope that there would be a higher, FSI available. But should corporations be allowing developers to change plans in this manner? Mohit Bhansali, tell me this. Right now, we've understood that these buyers have an option to approach consumer court. If they take the corporation to court, will they have a likelihood of getting more attention, faster attention, maybe more reaction to their cases?
Yes, certainly. Certainly.
What should they do? Give them instructions. What should they do?
Certainly. They have a right to fight with the corporation first. Even in consumer complaint, a corporation can be implicated as necessary party who is accountable to give the answer as to who permitted and on what basis they have kept on changing the plans at the instructions of builder.
All right, so whatever case they take to the National Commission should also include the corporation for not following MOFA, as they were supposed to follow MOFA. What is the likely reaction then to that case?
From corporation?
Yes.
Corporation is accountable to all the public. And when we prove it in the court that it is likely to affect the right of the flat owners, so they have a right to cancel the plan. Now, if they cancel the plan, the flat owners who have booked may suffer and they may say that I have put so many amount in this project and it is likely. So the best way, as on date, whatever is the plan been sanctioned, the corporation must first of all stop further sanctioning it so that the person who are not yet affected can be saved.
All right, Abhijit is on the phone line. Abhijit, very quickly, we're running out of time. Tell us what your experience has been.
I booked the flight in 2010 in September, and as per my agreement, I supposed to get possession on December 2014.
Okay.
With extension period of 12 months, which already over on December 2015. Now, when we went to the office of DB, we met with Mr. Bansal and JC. They are clearly telling from their side that you guys have the legal option. So you can approach to the legal path.
Which is actually saying go to hell.
I would
That's
just
what
like
they are saying, go to hell.
Yeah, I will just like to point out this thing that we have been in touch with Mr. Bansal from last 1.5 years.
Yes.
So we found him to be quite sensible person, assuring us that he will be delivering. But it was a shock to us in the last meeting that was held on 9th of April at the site DB Ozone. He openly told us that if you guys want to go legal, go. We are short of funds. We will not be able to deliver this project on time.
Short of funds? How? If
we
there
don't
are
understand
projects that are being completed across the city, we have a list of projects that DB Realty has. DB Realty has projects right now in various parts of the city, in Bandra and Mahalakshmi, Prabha Devi, right across from us here in Lower Parel where our studios are. Construction is on full swing. I refuse to believe that there is no money.
This project, they are short of funds. We don't understand this thing.
They have
For
already recovered 89%.
14 floors and they built 19 floors and they are not.
And I would like to just what now they have started.
Cost? They have recovered 89%.
Yeah, they have started after all this thing. They have started doing like when all this thing started appearing in media. What they've started doing is they started in the name of a survey calling up each of the individual flat buyers, asking them whether they will be willing to pay the remaining 11% in an escrow account upfront. Now, I fail to understand people who have taken the flats on loan. How will bank disperse that 11%?
How will the bank disperse that money?
It's totally senseless. I don't understand this thing. How they can even think of asking people that default 11%. We will give you in writing that when is the when we are going to deliver the flat. Have they given you in writing
so far when they are actually going to give you the final possession?
See, right from day one when we have booked the flat, this is the brochure of DB Ozone. It clearly mentioned Dahisar. Till March 2011, I have the newsletters with me which says Dahisar. Suddenly in June 2011, they just mentioned Mira Road / Dahisar. So I fail to understand like how far we can go in trusting them.
So you're refusing to trust them at this point, even though the developer is coming forward and saying that we will deliver in 3 months?
I would just like to mention one thing, that Mr. Bansal has clearly told us that okay, legal options are available to us. So I would just like to say that we were not waiting for your suggestions, sir. We wanted to cooperate because we wanted home to live in.
Right.
We know what our rights are, and yes, we will bring you to terms. That's a short message that I want to give on behalf of the other people.
Faye, can I just add one quick point to this?
Go ahead.
See, this entire momentum started since last year, June. And before that, I think the construction company, DB Realtors were not even bothered about completing this project. At least since June, they have started to attend to the meetings and get all these things structured. And before that, whenever you approach them, they kept on giving us dates after dates after dates. So I'm hearing since 2012, and every time you go, they will give you 6 months extension. So since 2015 June, they have taken this at least an effort to come for the monthly meetings. And since then, yes, the momentum is going on, but then still they are nowhere close to, they are nowhere close to.
So the pressure continues, especially here on Magic Bricks. Now we're going to keep a very close eye on this project. Remember, the developer has promised us delivery beginning in the next 3 months, and that's something we're tracking on a regular basis. Our cameras visit the site on a regular basis, and we'll bring you updates. And we stand by the home buyers here. Our legal panel stands by the home buyers. If you're facing a problem at home, get in touch with us. DB Realty, I invite you one more time into the studio on camera to answer questions that your customers are asking you. You owe them answers. A written response is just not enough. Our contact details are on your screen. Thank you for watching Magic Bricks Now. Stay with us for more news and updates.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Magic Bricks Now. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magic Bricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/Magic Bricks Now.